Today we're here in a Winnipeg backyard on Kildonan, and we're talking with Tadek Sampson, who's with BuzzBoss, about everyone's favorite subject in the entire world, mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes.
So we're talking about hiding places and ways that you can not only identify where the mosquitoes are, but you can also maybe solve a little bit of the problem.
Yes.
So why don't we start with the first question, where do mosquitoes like to hide?
Well, mosquitoes are soft-bodied, so anywhere they can get away from the sun and away from the wind, bushes and areas that are protected from the wind, that's where they'll go. And then they'll wait until someone comes around. They sense your smell. They have a sense of smell. It's 10,000 times better than our sense of smell. They have visual. They can see you from about 10 meters out. They can start to see movement. And then as they get closer, from about a meter away, they can start to sense your body heat. And so they're just waiting for all of those cues to get triggered to come find you and get a blood meal.
Just horrible. My skin is already crawling. So you're going to show us a couple of these places that they like to hide,
That's right? Absolutely.
Okay, should we go check it out?
Let's do it.
All right.
So any type of standing water is something we definitely don't want to have in your yard, because that's where they'll be breeding. Breeding is what is the worst for mosquitoes. And so a bird bath, for example, if it's not cleaned out every single week, you can have larvae growing in there. With a cup of water, you can have over 1,000 eggs laid in that small amount of water. So you can imagine even something like this is a major issue. And so your eaves troughs and other things like that, you'd always want to make sure they're clear and there's no standing water. But another issue that a lot of people don't realize are areas that they hide. And so we'll talk about that with, for example, the grass.
I'm starting to think I don't want to know about this.
So nicely mowed lawn like this is actually perfect. This is what you want. But when you have grass that starts to get quite a bit higher, that's where you'll start to see mosquitoes. Again, anywhere where it's nice and shady, where they can get away from the wind, if your grass is quite a bit higher than this, suddenly you're going to have mosquitoes hiding out in your grass.
So the moral of the story here is to make sure your grass is pretty well kept.
Yeah, mow your lawn.
All right.
Yeah.
Seems pretty easy, right?
Yes, it is. So one of the areas that mosquitoes tend to like to breed, and that's your biggest issue, is breeding, is actually not in the pool itself, but on the pool cover, where that gets, it's raining right now, so once the pool cover starts to fill up with rain in those little indents, they can start to breed in there. And the best way to handle that situation is to every so often, at least once a week, make sure there's no standing water on top of that pool cover.
All right.
So
where else can they go?
Let's go take a look.
So bushes are a haven for mosquitoes.
Absolutely. Your shrubs and your bushes, if you don't keep them pruned or trimmed, what can end up happening is they get a ton of area inside them that they harbor there. So they have a haven from the sun and the wind. If you keep it so that they're more exposed to the sun and more exposed to the wind, then there'll be less of them in there.
So like the grass, keeping the grass well mowed.
Absolutely.
This has to be trimmed. And I hear that garlic is the key to getting rid of mosquitoes.
We have found that garlic has a very strong sulfur content, and those block the receptors which mosquitoes use to smell you, which is their main way of finding people. So garlic will actually block those receptors and can help keep them out of your yard.
Okay, so you can call the pros like you and you can come and spray garlic around the yard.
Absolutely,
correct?
yeah.
Or there's a way that you can maybe make it yourself?
Well, it's a pretty simple thing, actually. You take a couple pounds of garlic, so your house is going to smell, and then you use the actual liquid from that, and you can spray it on areas like this with the bushes and areas that you know are going to be harborage, and that will have a little bit of an effect.
All right.
Yeah.
So we know to mow the lawns, we know to trim the hedges, we know to clean the pool covers and the bird baths. Thanks for the tips today.
My pleasure.
All right, and hopefully this rain stops so the mosquitoes don't want to be in Winnipeg
Hopefully,
anymore.
yes.